Hello, welcome to the Situation Room. I'm James Carey and I'm all about helping you write better sitcom scripts. And today we're going to look at being a better writer, part two. Part one is also available on this YouTube channel. So go and have a look at that. That was all about reading. Now, reading is all about improving your inputs as a writer. You're putting stuff into your head, into your brain, into your soul. But this one is about writing, the actual business of writing and habits that you might want to get into as a writer. And actually what I've come up with is five things to make. Five things to make. So here's the first of those things. The first thing is to make notes. Make notes. So you've been reading, and whilst you're reading, you want to start writing things down. So you want to be making notes as you go. You need notebooks. You need something. You need a plan to do that. You need to note down a fact that you think is amazing or interesting or is something that you think you can do with. Make a note of an experience that you've had. Make a note of an idea. It may be that you're out walking the dog and you suddenly have an idea. Maybe that you meet someone and there's a character there, or you see someone on TV, something like that. There's a line that just pops into your head. There's a line of dialogue or a bit of an explanation of something. Or there's a scene, just a moment. I remember having a scene, thinking of a scene of an idea I've been doing, and I was swimming at the time, and I had to get out of the pool, go to my locker, get my phone out, and actually type out dialogue that I could hear the characters saying. So you want to be making notes. If you're serious about writing, you really need to be serious about making notes, because you'll forget. You'll forget. Stuff gets in the way, life happens, and then suddenly you're thinking, oh, what was that idea I had? And it's so annoying, because that might have been a really good idea that could have been very profitable for you. So you want to keep hold of all of them. So you need a plan, make notes. So get a notebook. I've got loads and loads of notebooks. I'm just looking for my notebooks here. Notebooks. Lots and lots of notebooks. I mean, that's not even half of them. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've got a lot of notebooks, and sometimes I just go back over them and just see if anything, it triggers anything, or suddenly I think of an idea, I think, oh, that's a good idea, and now I know how to do it. It turns out that this now is the time for that idea or that moment or that character, that thought. So there are lots of things to be gained from it. Even just the act of writing it down actually will help you remember, so that you don't even have to look it up in a notebook. But it is good to have it in a notebook. Two drawbacks of a notebook: you might lose it. That's really annoying. Or you might not have a pen. For me, that's amazingly common. Despite being a writer, you'd be amazed at how often I don't have a pen or a pencil. I feel like a moron asking to borrow one, especially if they know I'm a writer. So at that point, I reach usually for the phone and get the Notes app out, and and therefore I just start using the Notes app, and I've got absolutely loads and loads and loads and loads of notes that are basically mostly, just stuff that I've noticed, ideas. Sometimes they're collections of ideas. Maybe I'm writing a book at the moment about this or that, and I just add it to that note. So the good thing about that is it backs it up on my laptop and my iPad, so I've got it everywhere. But there are loads of other systems. There's like Evernote is a thing. Trello, I think, is something I've heard about. And also I make notes sometimes using an iPad and an Apple Pencil. So I use an app called Notability, and that way I know it's dropped up. It's backed up in a Dropbox, and I use Dropbox. Please use Dropbox. Please back up everything that you do. Side note, this isn't about that, but it's amazing to me how many people who are serious about their writing just sort of hope that their laptop doesn't crash and take everything with it. That's complete madness. So however much money I spend on Dropbox every year, 80 quid, 100 quid, I don't know. That's the best 100 quid I spend that year, probably, short of buying my kids pairs of shoes. But let's not get into that. So number one, make notes. If you're serious about writing, you don't want a blank sheet of paper. You want to be starting with lots of ideas, and you want to make notes of all the things that you're reading, thinking, experiencing. Make notes is the first thing. The second thing then, the business of writing itself, make time. You have to make time to write. You will never feel like writing, or at least you will very rarely feel like writing, And if you do, it won't be for long enough to actually write anything. By the time you've actually sat down to write, the moment has passed. It never feels like the right time to write. It almost feels like you're too busy to write. Well, look, I'm a writer and I feel like I don't have time to write. Well, I'm making a YouTube video right now for a start. But so I have to earmark time and make sure that I write at these times, whether I feel like it or not. And I rarely feel like it, but I do it anyway, because that's the discipline of writing. And some days it does feel good and it turns into something good. Some days it doesn't. But if you don't write at all, then you're not writing. And that's the aim, is to how to be a better writer. You've got to write something before you can make it better. So it may be that you think you don't have time, but actually you've probably got 40 minutes at least 2 days a week and maybe an hour at the weekend where you could write if you really wanted to. If you don't believe me, get your phone to tell you how much time you spend scrolling the internet and looking on social media. So you could reduce that by half and still have time to look at Instagram and also write. Think how much time you're watching TV. Maybe spend a bit less time watching TV and a bit more time writing TV. So, obviously you want to watch a bit. It's good to be inspired, entertained. There's lots of great stuff on, but you probably don't need to watch TV for 3 hours. You could probably write for an hour and watch TV for 2 hours. How about just thinking how you can plan to write? And actually you need to then, where am I going to write? Get your coffee, get your tea, whatever, sit down and write. Pledge that you're not going to do anything else but write. Even if you don't write much, that's okay, but don't do anything else. Don't agree to do anything else. That is the time that you write, or at least don't do anything other than write. Try not to be distracted. Don't have your phone with you. If you're writing on a laptop, turn off notifications. I usually shut down all of my email apps and everything. My phone is permanently on silent anyway, so I never hear a phone ring. And if the landline rings, it's never for me, because nobody's got my number. And it's usually for my wife, and I know normally who it is anyway. So remove distractions. If that's too much of a burden for you, just unplug the internet completely for an hour, so that you can write and not be distracted. And do whatever you have to do. Maybe just put on some. I tend to listen to music, but often music without lyrics, because I find lyrics distracting. Do what works, but make the time to do it, and turn off notifications and just decide that you're going to write. And it may be that therefore you need the cooperation of people you live with, either a spouse or a sibling or a housemate, whoever it is. This is the third make. Make a pact. Make a pact with them. Ask them to help you write. If they like you, even better. If they love you, they know that this is something that's important to you, and they probably want to help you achieve your goal of writing more, because then you'll shut up about it and actually do it. That'd be good, wouldn't it? They can't really do much to help you, but what they can do is get out of the way. Maybe take the kids for 45 minutes when you're writing. Maybe just make less noise. Maybe not mind that you've turned off the internet for an hour. Whatever it is, tell them that you want to write at these times and ask for their help, just to make sure that you can do that and not do anything else. You may need to do something for them. You may need to pledge to empty the dishwasher and iron some shirts or whatever it is. But make a pact with someone else. And then actually, once you've formed a bond with someone else over this writing, you're then kind of on the hook. You're going to have to write. You better write something. But you don't have to show them. That's not the deal. And here's the great secret about writing. You don't have to show anybody what you've written for ages, if ever. The first thing you write is not going to be very good. The second thing you write will be slightly better, but still bad. By the time you're going around it the third time, it might actually start to be presentable. That's fine. That's all part of the process. Very few people can write brilliantly first time, because very few people are geniuses, and actually a lot of the genius is sort of manufactured and not really real. So make a pact with the person that you live with somebody to do this writing. Make a deadline as well. I think I've talked about that in other areas. Make a deadline and work backwards from there. It really does take an awful lot of planning and maybe tell them about what your plans are for the year, for your writing year, and that maybe on the 7th of September you're going to have a script written by then, and that you therefore need to go through the following steps in order to do all that. But we'll talk about that another time. But make a pact in order that you can write, so you can make time and use those notes that you've made as well. It may be, though, that the thing that's holding you back is not necessarily all of those things, but what you're actually going to write. And the thing that you're writing is not exciting to you at the moment. There's this idea you've been fiddling around with for years, and it feels like homework. Just ask yourself, the thing that you're going to write, does it, I mean, we can go Marie Kondo on it. Does it excite you? Does it bring joy? Because if it doesn't, then bin it. Okay, it's a bit of a controversial thing. I'm telling you not to write something. But that thing that you've been nurturing for ages, you may have come up with it 10 years ago when you were different, the world was different, and nobody cares anymore. Not even you care. You need to make a choice. So that's the next one here. Make a choice. Decide what you're going to write rather than drift and have your legacy, as it were, just sort of forced upon you. Because if you don't believe in these characters, if you don't believe in this world that you've made, then you're not going to write a very good script on it. And also, it's such hard work. There's so much work ahead of you that you want characters that you actually like and enjoy, even if they're not likable, and you want a world that you actually want to be in, even if it's not a very nice world. You know, there needs to be a good reason for you to write this, because you're never going to be able to sell it or promote it or put your heart and soul into a script to make you look like a better writer unless you actually like the idea. So if there's this idea that's hanging around like leftovers, for goodness sake, just chuck it. Okay. And if you end up in a few weeks or months' time going through your bins trying to get that idea because you suddenly figured it out and you're excited about it, that's great. But at the moment, it's probably blocking you from thinking of a better idea that you're more excited about, that you're more likely to make a pact with, to make time for, and to use those notes to help you write. And here's the final one. Make it good. Make it good. So it may be that when I've told you to just bin it and start something else, it may be that you keep doing that and you just keep coming up with something and then half finishing it before you get bored of it and go on to the next thing. In which case, for you, the advice is to take something and make it good. Finish it. And not just finish it as in get to the end and then it's written and send it off. Do it again and do it again. Rewrite it and rewrite it. Polish it. Spend an extra however long you need on it. If you've got a script that's half decent and you're getting that way, I've got a thing that I can help, that will help you, called 7 Ways to Improve Your Script Right Now. Click on the link below and you can get hold of that. It's a PDF with 7 really clear action points. And maybe you could just go through one each time you sit down in your writing session and make your script better using one of those action points. So there's something to be thinking about and get hold of. Make it good. Finish it. I think people underestimate how long it takes to get a script good once you've written it. In actual fact, the writing of the script is a small bit. Okay, so I've developed a new course called Writing Your Sitcom. It's a video course. It's me explaining how to write a sitcom from scratch, but it's a sitcom that works for you. It's going to be a really good script that you're proud of, that you can do something with. So that's the idea. But in the course of the course, what you will notice is the fact that the amount of time writing the first draft of the script is actually quite small, because there's loads of stuff that goes beforehand, and then there's stuff that goes afterwards as well. So writing the script is actually not the main bit. And if you're finding it hard to write a script because the script feels to you unwritable, you haven't planned it right, you haven't got the characters right, you haven't got the story right, that's the most likely candidate. So come on into the course. I'd really like you to take a look at it at least. There's a video about it also on this channel as well. There's a link below. But come and have a look at the course Writing Your Sitcom, and hopefully that will give you a bit more shape to these writing sessions. So that's Writing Your Sitcom is on the Teachable platform. So go down below, have a look at the notes, and you'll be able to see a link for that. So hopefully that's helpful about the inputs with the reading. That's the previous video. And then the outputs, making notes, making time, make a pact, and make a choice about what you're going to write, and then make it good. finish it, make it as good as it can be, so that when you send it out, you're really proud of it. And if you need help with that, then writing your sitcom is a good place to start. Anyway, loads more videos coming up in the future. Thanks for watching. Click around, find some other videos, and I'll speak to you next time.